my name's Randy Morey, and I'm the Behavior and Enrichment Specialist at the Fairfax County Animal Shelter. So today I would like to introduce a few learning theories to you today, classical and operant conditioning and counter conditioning, in which we will change the mindset or the way it feels about certain stimuli in the environment. I have Aria as my assistant today, and we're just going to be working on a few different things to help you understand classical conditioning. So classical conditioning is simple associations with something. In a case in the home environment, it could be something as simple as you picking up a leash, leashing up your dog before you go for a walk each day. So depending on the dog's association with that action, and the frequency of that action, the dog may understand that every time you pick up that leash, it will associate it with going for a walk. So your dog may get super excited, jumping and running around every time you pick up the leash. So in this case, we have Aria trying to find a treat from me, which she will. So we're going to give a quick example with Aria here of some classical conditioning. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to place down a cup. I'm going to let her free, and then when she goes up to the cup, there's going to be a treat in it. So she's going to eat that treat, hopefully, and if she does and she likes it enough, when I remove her from the cup and place another treat in there, she's going to continue to go back to the cup thinking that there's going to be a treat in it. Eventually I'm going to put more cups around, and we're going to see how many cups that she will go to in anticipation of her receiving a treat in the cup. So depending on the association she makes, which will be difficult in a short amount of time, but we can see how quickly classical conditioning can take place. Regardless of the bowl, I think she's going to start looking in other bowls for the treat. And there was food in there. Like that, no food. There's still food in one of the bowls, so she may or may not find the food. So this bowl actually has nothing in it. So she can smell that there's nothing in it. I'm going to place it down, and through classical conditioning, she's going to dive her nose in as if there's food in it. So the association more isn't just the bowl itself, but with me placing the bowl down. So there's one. And then of course she's going to come around and think there's food in that one. So the simple association of food being in a bowl, when I have it in my hand and I place it down, is one thing that she made an association with. Through enough repetition of this, when she saw, if I randomly took her out and brought her back in and randomly put cheese in the bowls, she would discover that she would go around and check out each bowl to see if there was food in it. Simple association with food being in the bowl. So the second learning theory that we would like to discuss is operant learning or operant conditioning. And what we're doing is we're working with dogs within a quadrant. You've probably heard positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive and negative punishment. So basically those are the four learning processes in operant conditioning. So what we have now is Aria, she learned through classical conditioning that if she sat she would receive a piece of cheese. So there's the classical conditioning aspects of it. if I was teaching her through the same process here, yes. So two things could have happened if that was, I was asking for that particular position. I didn't have to, right? So in two methods, if that was an automated feeder, that could be classically conditioned if she sat in front of an object and got a piece of cheese. Now if I'm just asking for this particular behavior, raising the cheese over her head, yes, and she receives the cheese. I don't need to mark her behavior by saying yes. However, she's learning when I have a piece of cheese and I hold it up, that means that she will repeat this sit more likely in the future because I'm adding cheese into the equation. Yes. The negative reinforcement aspects of it is if I had Ari here and she was sitting and I applied pressure to the top of the leash, upward pressure to the leash, and pushed down on her bottom, that pressure may be uncomfortable to her. So as soon as she sits and I release the pressure, that would be considered negative reinforcement because number one, she is more likely to sit in the future, and number two, it's negative because I'm removing the pressure on the leash and the pressure on her bottom from that particular behavior. Punishment comes in where if she were jumping on me and she was trying to get the food, and as she jumped, I simply removed the food, eventually that would stop the jumping. So as far as the punishment's concerned, I'm removing that food, right? So the jumping would be less likely to occur in the future. That's why it's classified as punishment. And the negative, meaning removal of the food, is the negative aspects of that particular quadrant. So negative punishment, she's jumping, I remove the food, she stops jumping, so the jumping would be less likely to occur in the future because of the removal of the food. On the other hand, positive punishment would be an example if she was jumping up on me trying to get to the food. I raised my knee and she collided her body into my knee. That would be uncomfortable to her. I'm adding the raising or the pressure of my knee into her chest. She felt uncomfortable from that adding of that, the raising of my knee. Therefore, the jumping is less likely to occur in the future. Therefore, it's classified as punishment. So therefore, it's positive punishment due to the adding of the knee and the less likely of the occurrence of the behavior in the future. So the final aspect of I'd like to introduce today is called counter-conditioning. Counter-conditioning is the process in which we want to change the way the dog feels about a particular stimuli. In this example, I'm just going to use the example of dogs barking at knocking at a door. Unfortunately, Ari is deaf, so you can edit that part out, but basically what we would do is we would try and knock softly and introduce a treat. So as the dog gets rewarded for this knocking, I would progressively knock louder and louder as I produce a treat. So I don't want her jumping, so I'm not going to have her get to the point of jumping, or I'm going to be rewarding her jumping up as well.